Hare Krishna. So today we are celebrating the disappearance of Srila Prabhupada. It is called the Tirubhava Tithi, or the day of separation from Srila Prabhupada. At the end of this lecture at 7:30, at the temple they will sing the song Jayanilo Premadan. This song was composed by Narottam Das Thakur. It's actually called Saparshad Bhagavat Viraha Janita Vilap, or lamentation due to separation from the associates of Krishna. When Lord Chaitanya came, he brought with him his associates, Saparshad Sriyadham, and his transcendental abode. Normally when Krishna comes to this planet, he brings his weapons, mainly the chakra and the mace, the gada. Even when Krishna appeared as a small boy in the prison house of Kamsa, his mother Devaki first saw him as a four-handed small boy, form of Vishnu, with beautiful black hair and a Kaustuba gem around his neck with an image of a calf engraved, with a triangular golden helmet with Vaidura gems. These gems shine in different colors. Srivatsa on his chest, showing that the goddess of fortune is eternally with him. So Krishna, when he appeared, he killed many, many demons by using his weapons. His weapons are not different from him. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, he didn't bring any weapons. He didn't bring a danda, he didn't bring a gada, mace. He sometimes threatened to use his weapons, but actually his weapons were his associates. And in our experience, his most confidential associate, who did the tremendous job of bringing Krishna consciousness to the West, is Srila Prabhupada. When I was a young man, I was living in South Africa. I had a good job, good prospects. I lacked nothing in life. We belonged to the first generation which didn't have to go through any wars or famines or difficulties. So life was easy for me. But I wasn't happy. I was searching for something and I couldn't find that internal happiness. I was trying to find that happiness by satisfying my senses. But Prabhupada taught us that kamasya nendriya pritir labhu jiveta yavata, that the purpose of life cannot be achieved by satisfying the senses. Jivasya tattva jignasa, nartavyasya karma bihi, that only by looking for the supreme truth can one become happy. And Prabhupada, he brought this truth, and this is brought this truth from the hidden in the heart of a pure devotees. He brought it out and made it available to everyone. And in the song Jayanilo Premadhan, Anila means to bring, and Premadhan means the treasure of love. And how is that brought? Karuna Prachur, by the merciful preaching. So it always amazed me that Srila Prabhupada would come to the West as an old man, no money. Actually, when he boarded the boat to come to America, he had 50 rupees. 50 rupees, in those days, you couldn't even change the rupees into dollars. So he had no money at all. He had 200 sets of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which he had printed. And he sold one set to the ship captain, who paid $20. So when Prabhupada landed in New York, he had $20 in his pocket. It is inconceivable that such a person would do something like this. And when he landed in America, the ship first stopped in Boston, and Prabhupada wrote a beautiful poem called Markine Bhagavad Dharma, or the how to present the eternal duty of the soul in relationship with God to the people of America. And he begins the song by saying, Boro Kripa Koile Krishna Adamera Prati. He introduced himself as a very fallen and very unqualified person. Adamera means one who is fallen. And Boro Kripa Koile Krishna. But Krishna has given this fallen soul a lot of mercy. Kila Gia Anile Hetha Koro Hebegati. So Krishna, you have brought me here. You have given me so much mercy. Now, Koro Ebegati, let me do what you want me to do. This is the first quality of pure devotee, that even though he has Krishna and love of Krishna and he can distribute this, he thinks he's unqualified. And he's always looking and praying to Krishna to guide him. And then he continued, Ache kichu karja tava e anumane naike no anibe e ugrastane. I'm thinking that you have some work here in America. Otherwise, why did you bring me to this place? And Prabhupada defined America as ugrasthane, as a place of ugliness, a place of degeneration. He was coming from a small village in India, from Vrindavan, and he saw through all the glamour of the Western world, all the glamour of America. He saw through the skyscrapers and the beautiful highways and the motor cars and the aircraft and the sensuous lifestyle, and he saw it as Ugrasthane. Why Ugrasthane? Why an ugly place? Because Krishna wasn't present. So in my young 20s, middle 20s, I was also searching, and I decided to make an effort to understand, to answer the questions inside me. I was trying to satisfy myself by satisfying my senses. Albeit I was satisfying my senses in a more or less mode of goodness, like I became a vegetarian and I tried not to do any harm to others. I tried to be peaceful, not to be aggressive. But the program was how to find satisfaction by satisfying my senses, and especially how to find love. And I had bad experiences with finding love, because no matter how much you become involved with another person, it ultimately ends because there is too much self-interest. So I decided to leave South Africa and go somewhere where I could get answers by travel. I thought if I leave this place, I may find some answers to my questions. At that time, my generation looking for answers was very much active in New York, and it had moved from New York to San Francisco. But I couldn't go to San Francisco. But the next best thing was Amsterdam. I read that Amsterdam was a very open city full of people who were interested in spirituality. So I came here. And very soon after, I met the devotees. In 1972, I received the Nectar of Devotion and the Krishna book, and I began to read, and I began to understand the great gift that Prabhupada was offering to us. And I spent the whole year of 1975 immersed in chanting and reading, and then I distributed Prabhupada's books for 1 year in Italy, and then I had this intense desire to meet Prabhupada face to face. So I came to India in the autumn, end of autumn, beginning of winter of 1976. And I met Prabhupada in Vrindavan. And in those days, we used to have 24-hour kirtan in Vrindavan. And I used to do the 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. shift. So at 2 a.m., I would come down to the temple to do my kirtan. And I would see into Prabhupada's room, because the light was on, and he would be sitting inside a square tent, mosquito net, which covered his old desk, and he would be translating. So in the middle of the night, when everybody else was sleeping, Prabhupada was working for us, producing these books. I understood that obviously he is giving more importance, so much importance to the books, that he's foregoing his sleep, and he is writing these books when the only time when everybody else was also asleep and couldn't disturb him in any way. Because during the day, he had a full program: morning walk, greeting the deities, Bhagavatam class, writing letters, meeting with people. So the whole day was busy preaching at night, in the evening. So at night, in the middle of the night when everybody was sleeping, Prabhupada was awake and he was writing these books. There's a funny story. One time, one of his servants came into his room and Prabhupada was reading from the Krishna book. And the boy asked him, "Oh, Prabhupada, you're reading your own books?" Prabhupada said, "No." He says, "I'm reading to see what Krishna has to say." So I've been reading Prabhupada's books for many, many, many years. I come to the end of the Krishna book and I begin at the beginning again. I come to the end of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I come to the end of the Nectar of Devotion. And I start again at the beginning. And I never get tired. Years and years and years. I don't read anything else. I read the news, but basically nothing can replace Prabhupada's books. And because I understood, somehow by his mercy, I understood that if I want to become close to Prabhupada, he is available in his books. There are two ways to associate with Prabhupada. One way is Vapu, and it is by direct physical presence, and the other is Vani, or by his instructions, by his words. And of the two, Vani is much, much more powerful. One time in Vrindavan, I was walking behind Prabhupada as he was leaving the temple from a side entrance. There were some doors on the side entrance of the Krishna Balaram temple. And on the steps, with his back to the temple, there was a young brahmachari, and he was reading one of Prabhupada's Bhagavatams. So because he had his back to the temple, he didn't see that Prabhupada was coming. So Prabhupada came up behind him, and he saw that he was reading his book, and Prabhupada leaned over and patted him on the head with his right hand, and he said, "Good boy." And I got my lesson. I understood. This is a way to understand Prabhupada. Since he put so much time and so much effort, since he sacrificed his very sleep to write his books, that meant that the books are more important to him than anything else. So to understand Prabhupada, reading his book is very important. One sannyasi friend of mine went from Calcutta to Japan, and he met Prabhupada there, and he said, "Prabhupada, I really don't like Japan. I want to go back to Calcutta." Prabhupada said, "You're coming and going. You're always disturbed. The problem is that you do not read my books." So if you want to know about Prabhupada, reading his books is very important. Anyhow, in December 1976, Prabhupada went to South India to a place called Wardha. Wardha is a Gandhian center. It is a village which has a Go Seva Samiti, or an association for protecting cows and to promote Gandhian ideas. One big guru, Vinod Bhave, Marathi guru, was there, and a big industrialist, Radhakrishna Bajaj. Every year he would finance a Gita Yajna, or a Gita sacrifice for 10 days. And that year Prabhupada was invited to be the chairman of that assembly. So all the devotees gathered there. There weren't many of us. And on one morning walk with Prabhupada, he was very heavily criticizing this idea of nationalism, that I belong to America, I belong to India, I'm Italian, I'm this, and I am this body. So he was very much criticizing nationalism, the need of identity, passport. So while he was in this way criticizing nationalism, one devotee, godbrother of mine, spoke up quite loudly and he said, "Prabhupada, what about Gandhi?" And before he could finish speaking, Prabhupada stopped and cut him off. And he said, "Do not speak of Gandhi. Do not criticize Gandhi." Boom. And he banged his cane down and he kept walking. And everybody became very quiet. Because when Prabhupada became assertive like that, and if you said the wrong thing, you would get chastised. So everybody was mumbling and quietly. But I wanted to say something. I couldn't help myself. So I spoke up and I said, Srila Prabhupada, why should we not criticize Gandhi? After all, he was a nationalist. So Prabhupada stopped and he turned around and he looked at me. Everybody was still. And he said, what did you say? Before I could say anything, his secretary, Harikesh Maharaj, he said, Prabhupada, he said, why should we not criticize Gandhi? After all, Gandhi was a nationalist. So then, instead of chastising me, Prabhupada looked very kindly at me and he picked up his cane and he swung it around to all the buildings. And he said, you see, all here, all this is Gandhi. We have come here to preach. If we criticize Gandhi, they will send us home. You should learn to preach to the Indians. So I took that as his instruction. And after that program, I went to Calcutta to take up my service as Sankirtan leader. I spent a lot of time in Calcutta because I had to, Rameshwar Maharaj gave a donation to Jayapataka Swami, who gave me the money, and we bought 2 Sankirtan vans, and I had to equip them. And in India, in those days, you couldn't just walk into the showroom and buy 2 vans. No, there's a waiting list. So I had to hassle and run around meeting different people in Calcutta to get these vans. So while I was in Calcutta, I did a little research on Prabhupada. And I did some research. I used to go to his house. At that time, his house was still there. Across his house was the Radha Govinda temple. Upstairs, I met an old Oriya Pujari. There was a temple on the first floor of Krishna Balaram. And the Pujari told me, he said, your guru, he used to come every day and play harmonium and sing for Krishna Balaram. So I thought, see, this how Prabhupada became so expert at playing harmonium. Every day when he was a householder, he would go and sing for Krishna Balaram. And of course, we know that his father hired a mridanga teacher to teach him how to play mridanga. So Prabhupada became an expert musician. Devotees are expert in all fields, and Prabhupada was certainly an expert musician. And I found out about his community. Prabhupada belonged to a community called the Suvarna Vanik. They consist of families with the name Malik, De, Datta. So the Suvarna Vanik, Suvarna means gold, and Vanik means Vaishya. They were so rich and so powerful, this community. They owned so much land and had so much gold and so much money that they were like kings. Therefore, they were called Kayastas. They weren't Kshatriyas, but they were more than Vaishyas. So they were called Kayastas. So Prabhupada belonged to this Kayasta community. And their headquarters was in a place called Saptagram, which is on the Howrah side of the Ganges, the Hooghly River, Ganges River, on the western side, about 1 hour drive north of Calcutta. And this Saptagram is the place where Raghunath Das Goswami was born. So Raghunath Das Goswami is in the same caste as Srila Prabhupada. And one of the members of this community, of the Suvarna Vanik, his name was Udaran Datta Thakur. So Udaran Datta Thakur was one of the 12 Gopals that descended with Lord Nityananda. When Lord Nityananda came and appeared in Bengal, he brought 12 cowherd boyfriends with him. And one of them was Udaran Datta Thakur. And Udaran Datta Thakur was worshipping the deity of Sadbhuj Chaitanya at Saptagram. This deity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has Lord Ram as 6 hands, one hand holding a bow and one hand holding the arrow of Lord Ramachandra, 2 hands holding the flute of Lord Krishna, and 1 hand holding the danda, the staff, and the kamandalu, the water pot of Lord Chaitanya as a sannyasi. So this is the headquarters of the Suvarna Vanik community, and every year during the appearance day of Udaran Datta Thakur in the early spring, late winter, early spring, all the associates, all the members of this dynasty, of this caste, they come from Calcutta and other places, and come and celebrate this event. And when Prabhupada came to India in 1972, he was invited by his community and he was hosted and feasted at this temple. And then he said, every year we should send a Sankirtan party to this festival and perform kirtan. So I got that service, so every year I would go. And I got to meet a lot of these wonderful Maliks and Days of Prabhupada's family. And then I realized that actually these are not normal people. They were very highly sophisticated. They were very, very rich. In fact, they own all the lands in Calcutta and so on. And the British, they bought the land from this community to start their program in Bengal. So look, so Prabhupada wasn't a normal person. He was actually connected with one of the Gopals that came from the spiritual world. And he was connected to Raghunath Das Thakur. And that power he showed by coming to America with nothing except his faith in Krishna. A devotee's position is determined by how much faith he has. Shraddha Shabda Vishwas Koi Sudrida Nishchoy Krishna Bhakta Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. That the definition of faith is that simply by worshipping Krishna, all my karma is done. I don't have to do anything else. And indeed, that is Krishna's instructions. Sarva dharmam parijjaja mam ekam sharanam. Simply give up everything, simply depend upon me. And then I will protect you from identifying with the body. I will protect you from the illusion of identifying with this material world. I will protect you from your attempts to find happiness where there is no happiness, to find love where there is no love. So Prabhupada's faith became manifested, and when he arrived in America, he wrote this beautiful song, and Ki kore bujao tara boro se chai. He writes in this song that I have a great, great desire to present Krishna consciousness to the people in the West. Kudra ami dina hina kono shakti nai. However, I am kudra, I am very, very small. Dina hina, I am most fallen. Kono shakti nai, I have no power. This is the mentality of a devotee in relationship with Krishna. He doesn't think I'm as good as Krishna. He thinks, let Krishna work through me. Let me be Krishna's instrument. Let Krishna work through my senses. Then my senses become surcharged and I become Krishna conscious. Krishna consciousness means that you do nothing that doesn't come through Krishna. You do nothing that on your own initiative, but you do everything in relationship with Krishna. And Prabhupada concluded the song by saying, Ani ache jadi Prabhu, amare nachate, na chao Prabhu, na chao emate. Kashtera patali jata, na chao se mate. That, my dear Krishna, I have come here, now you please make me dance. Make me dance, make me dance. I am simply a puppet. You pull the strings and make me dance. I've been called Bhaktivedanta. Now let this meaning of this name become manifest. So this is what Prabhupada brought. His wealth wasn't money. What he brought was 200 sets of his Bhagavatams. And he would sell these books around New York, different libraries, different bookstores, and somehow he would maintain himself. And the first money he got, he bought a tape recorder. He was very careful to record all his classes. He was very careful to present his Krishna consciousness through his books and through his actions for us. Now there are more than 1,000 recorded Prabhupada classes. Every day you can listen. There are hundreds of books. You can listen, you can read all these books so that you can get association with someone who has Krishna. You cannot get Krishna from somebody who doesn't have him. You cannot pretend to have Krishna. Prabhupada knew he had Krishna within his heart. And he begged him, please, you're in my heart, now let me dance for you. Instead of dancing with Maya, let us dance with Krishna. This is the whole idea behind the Ras Leela, that we can dance with Krishna. We can learn how to move in concert with Krishna, just like my hand moves in concert with my. And if we forget that, Krishna buliya jive, Bhoga vancha kare. If we forget our relationship with Krishna, if we try and enjoy separately from Krishna, then Pashate Maya Tare Japati Adare. Maya will punish us. And Prabhupada was very much aware. He was seeing that behind all the glitter and glamour of the Western world, Maya was actually punishing. We think we are making progress, but actually Maya is punishing us at every moment. So today we have an opportunity to feel separation from Prabhupada, to pray for his mercy that we may get the taste to appreciate his instruction, to appreciate his Vani. Prabhupada never took credit for himself. Even on the boat on Janmashtami, after suffering even 2 heart attacks, he wrote a beautiful song where he glorified his guru. He didn't take credit for himself. Sri Siddhanta Saraswati Sachi Sutta Priya Ati. That my guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, is Sachi Sutta Priya Ati. Is very, very dear to Sachi Sutta, to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Siddhanta Saraswati Sachi Sutta Priya Ati. Krishna Seva Jar Tulenai. His service to Krishna cannot be balanced. It is so. You have a balance, you put Bhaktisiddhanta service to Krishna, you cannot make the balance equal because his service was too great. Aise Mohanta Guru Jagatere Madhya Uru Krishna Bhakti Dei Tai Tai. By his desire, but this great Guru's desire, Prabhupada said, then Krishna Bhakti will be spread everywhere. Actually, Prabhupada did it, but he gave credit to his own spiritual master. So now I will end this talk. If any of you have any comments, feel free to log on and type them in. But I have to end the lecture because it's going live onto the temple, and at 7:30 it is the time when Prabhupada actually disappeared, and they will sing this song Jayanila Premadhana. But I see there are many comments already being posted. I will answer the comments separately, and let us all glorify Srila Prabhupada. Today I cooked one of his favorite Bengali dishes, bitter melon, Karela, and potato. So I'm sure that you all have offered something to Prabhupada. Enjoy the feast. Enjoy the benediction. We have this wonderful opportunity to connect with this Supreme Personality. Jai. Prabhupada ki Jai. Haribol.